All right, so for 76, we have that the graph of f prime, which is the derivative of f, is shown here from -3 to 3, and we want to figure out what intervals is f increasing. So remember, the derivative tells you the rate of increase, gives you an idea of how the behavior of the function is changing. So when f prime is positive, so when f prime is greater than 0, that means that f is increasing. Doesn't matter if it goes up and down above the x-axis, like all along this region, it's positive. So then we can say from -1 up to 3, it's going to be increasing. So then the answer will be B. Number 77. You got that the rate at which water leaks from a tank in gallons per hour is modeled by R, which is a differential function of the number of hours after the leak is discovered. Which of the following is the best interpretation of R prime of 3? Okay, so we were already told that R represents rate, like the rate of which the water is leaking. So R prime would be like the rate of the rate. So think of it like R as like velocity, and then like R prime as like acceleration. So R prime is basically going to talk about how fast the rate of water leaking is changing by at time equals 3, or which is 3 hours. So let's say the amount of water in gallons is not going to be this. Now we're going to talk about amount of water. We're still talking about rate. The amount of change in gallons per hour in which the rate is leaking during 3 hours after. This is a funny answer, but it's not going to be B. The rate at which water leaks from the tank in gallons per hour, 3 hours into the tank. No, like that's what R is. R is already telling you that. The rate of change of the rate at which water leaks from the tank in gallons per hour 3 hours after the leak is discovered. So it's going to be D. Right. 78. The particle moves along the x-axis. The velocity of the particle at time t is given by this equation: v of t equals 4 over t cubed plus 1. If the position of the particle is x equals 1 when t equals 2, what's the position when t equals 4? Okay, so for this, we just can integrate from 2 to 4. So we're going to integrate v of t from 2 to 4. That's going to tell you from time 2 to time 4, where did it like end up, like how it traveled and where it ended up at time t equals 4. So we're given velocity. So we just can simply use our graphing calculator to plug this in. I'm trying to think if there's another way to do it. I mean, this would be s of 4 minus s of 2, but we don't have those really. So well, actually, let me first make this out. So remember, this is going to be v is the derivative of s. So when you integrate this, you're finding the antiderivative. So you're taking s of 4 minus s of 2. So when we're going to integrate this in our calculator, we're going to get some number. Then that number is going to be equal to s of 4 minus s of 2. And we're given that the position at 2 seconds, s of 2 is 1. So this is equal to s of 4 minus 1. So let's first find what s of, let's first integrate this in our calculator. So we can use our calculus function with the numerical integral from 2 to 4 of 4 over t cubed plus 1, or we'll just have x cubed plus 1 instead. And we'll get this. So 0.35-ish is going to be equal to that. 0.352565 equals this. And so we just add 1 to this, and we'll get S4 from that. And so we'll get about 1.3527. And so the answer will be C. Here's 79. We're given this graph of f, and we were asked to figure out of which intervals is f continuous but not differentiable. Okay, so remember, it's continuous when you don't have any holes or points of discontinuity. So there's a point of discontinuity here and here. You have a jump and a hole here. Now, it's not going to be differentiable at points where you have like a sharp curve. So like over here, because when you're coming from the left, the slope is going to be like something like that. But on the right side, on this side, the slope is like negative. So the slope from both sides when you approach this point here is not equal. So it's not going to be differentiable at that point there. So let's look at the interval that has that. So from 2 to 3-ish, we'll say. All right, so then the answer will be C. All right, so there you go.